How about you just tell me a little bit about yourself and explain the concept behind your blog of the Hand of Hope, just to kind of give a nice background to everybody who's listening.
Okay, well, I am Nadine Hope. I do a little bit of everything. I work in music, dance. I do a lot of PR stuff and promo. I used to backup dance myself for a few different local Toronto artists and stuff, and from there, when I got a little bit older, kind of branched more into the music and more behind the scenes, managing a dance group, Rated X, and a few other dancers independently. And I started working a lot more in music with regards to helping artists book dancers and models for videos and stuff, so it just became more and more involved.
Okay.
But I put together the mixtape basically just as a project on my own, just because I'm such a fan of R&B and especially some of the artists out of Toronto and other parts of Canada.
Cool, cool. How long have you been doing the Hand of Hope blog?
I've been doing it since November, more as an official website, and the name is derived from the meaning of my name, which is the Hand of Hope.
Oh, cool, cool. So how long were you working on the Groupie Love mixtape before it kind of came to fruition?
3 months. September 1st is when I decided I want to put out a mixtape. And it took some planning. And ideally, I had wanted it to come out within that month. By the end of the month, I wanted to have it all together and ready to go. But as time went by, I started discovering more artists across Canada that wanted to contribute. I had attended a few events that had given me access to a few artists that I hadn't gotten in contact with sooner, such as people like Julie Black or Ray Robinson or Melanie Duran and stuff. So I had developed over time a lot more connects and support for the mixtape, and it was really worth it. And I had a few battles with regards to a DJ mixing it, and I finally came up with a good team. So DJ Oso kind of saved the day and helped me mix it, and Scratch was a really busy guy, but he contributed too in terms of hosting it. So it came together, but it took a little while, 3 months to be exact.
So how did you choose the artists and songs that ended up making it on the final cut? Was it just kind of personal taste, or?
It was a little bit of personal taste, but I did work with a lot of the people that contributed to the mixtape. I did get their opinions. I mean, there's tons of artists out of Toronto that I work with or am familiar with that, I mean, they expected me to give preference, but it's hard because there were so many other options coming in from across Canada. I had artists from Vancouver, Saskatchewan, Nova Scotia, and I had so many songs sent in to me, and I had reached out to so many artists that replied late. And so I had done a first draft of who I had chosen and what it was going to be about, and I was still waiting for other people to contribute that, just the late people, slackers a little bit. And eventually when everything came in, we sat down, went to the drawing board, chose the songs that were being newly released, hadn't been released yet, or were really popular. Some of the artists that were really familiar with within Canada and the R&B scene.
Right.
So it was a little bit of everyone's opinion, a little bit of my preference, a little bit of making sure we had a variety within all the artists from across Canada. So.
Is that why you settled with the 60-song format? Quite a bit to cram in.
Yeah, ideally, when I came up with the concept of the mixtape, I knew what I wanted. I knew I didn't want it to just be 14 songs and them be full tracks and it be a very basic mixtape. I really wanted it to be something like as if you're going to an R&B party and you hear R&B the entire night and it's blending into each other. So that's why it ended up having that format that it has, and 60 songs was really just because we couldn't decide. That was 60 songs out of probably about almost 200.
Wow.
So it was a really, really tough decision. I mean, I love all the songs, and all of the songs that sent in, I have to say, I had no complaints about any of them. It was just really, the fact of the matter was, we had to cut it down.
Right. So obviously there was quite a bit of reception from the artists before it even started. How have they been feeling since it's come out? What kind of feedback have they been giving you?
The feedback has been great. We've had a few events since. I've done a couple radio shows as well, and we had an event actually last Thursday on February 10th which was the Love Always R&B event that we put on, and it was kind of a promotional tool for the mixtape. And we had a ton of the artists off the mixtape come out and perform and really just promote the mixtape, promote Toronto and Canadian R&B, and everyone's response has been great so far. I mean, a lot of the artists pushed it. They had it on their Facebook, they had it on their Twitter. Everyone was pushing it because it was really a project that was unexpected and well overdue. So it's gone really well. And I mean, even the artists that didn't make it on the mixtape knew that it was an important project in order for Canadian R&B to be recognized, and they pushed it just as hard as some of the artists that were on the mixtape.
Right. So, like, the West Coast scene out here is pretty kind of independents doing their thing. Can you describe for me a bit the scene in Toronto? Is it a bit different? Is there more kind of industry push behind it, or independents ruling the day?
Out in Toronto, I mean, there is an industry. Within Toronto, there's a whole entertainment industry. I mean, there's a lot of cliques within it, and everybody knows everybody. It's such a big city, but it's so small in terms of this industry. But nonetheless, it is still such an independent industry. And artists are really grinding for themselves. Shows like the one